want to show you some new brushes called Nature Tones. These are Procreate brushes for iPad, and you can use these to paint textures right into your designs into layered files. And if you've never used Procreate before, I'll kind of show you around and show you how these brushes work. So let me turn off this top layer. So now we've just got the flat design, and there's also a background color in there. But what I want to do is I can just select this design because it's on, this layer is on a transparent background. You just go select, and that makes a selection. And what we want to do here is make a new layer, and let's go to our paintbrush. And here are the different options we have. There's coral, dots, amoeba, reptile, chameleon, and all the way down to 35 different brushes. These pebbles ones, actually, I'll show you those. These are pretty cool. And what you can do is these are pressure sensitive, and I like to paint tonally most of the time. So for instance, to paint tonally into this tan strip here, we can just kind of push on that color and it'll select that as our foreground color. But we want to add a little bit of black and a little bit of saturation. That way it'll paint tonally. Now with these brushes, these are pressure sensitive. You can change the size of your brush here, and we can just start by painting really lightly. And if you use more pressure, it'll thicken things up. See how it's darker and thicker over here? The other thing we can do, that's 2 fingers to undo in Procreate. It makes it really easy to go back and forth. We can change the scale. So we go in here, click on grain. We can change the scale of the texture. So let me scale that up, and I'm going to click done. And let's go back in there. And again, we'll just start painting really lightly. You'll see how that scale is really big now. And then I can go in there with a heavier hand, pressing harder. And the nice thing about these new Procreate 5 brushes is if you lift up your pen and then go back, that pattern will match completely back in. And again, you know, if I add a lot of pressure, it darkens it up. And the other thing you can do is go in here, and you'll see how there's a brightness slider. You'll see how if I slide it this way, it really thickens the texture up, and vice versa. If I slide it that way, it really thins it out. So if you want to go, you know, get even more variation with the heaviness of your texture, I've got it pushed down. So let's go back in there, and we can again paint really lightly. You'll see how the texture still matches up, but it's much lighter. And you know, there's still pressure sensitive, so I can add pressure, but it's just another way to get more variation in there. And let's say we wanted to get really thick on this end. We can go back in here and let's go slide our brightness all the way over again to this side. And again, it thickens it up. So now we can go in here and just start painting and add pressure. And it almost goes opaque, except, you know, in these areas where it's still open up a little bit. And the other thing with these Procreate brushes is if you change the settings, you can always go back to default, go to about this brush and click reset brush. And that'll change everything back to normal. So the scale of the brush, you can see is small again. And it kind of looks like the first time that we painted in there. So that is how to use the Nature Tones brushes for Procreate.